of a solutions problem. Let's move to a couple of interest problems. Number 3 says Marge, she has some money to invest. She invests some at 17% and 500 more than twice that amount at 20%. The total annual interest from both accounts is $15.25. How much is at each rate? Well, the way I'm going to arrange this problem, let's arrange it in the form of a table. We've got 2 accounts, so that's what's going to go on these lines right here. Let's call it account 1 and account 2. And what I'm going to put over here then, let me erase that line real quick. Need to draw it a little bit further out there. Okay, and extend my table a little bit more. All right. What I'm going to put on this table here is I'm going to put a principal, which is the amount, and a rate, and then interest will go in the last column. I call it a PRI table, P-R-I. But here's why. What I'm going to wind up doing is writing the principal, then the rate for each of these, and then the interest, the way I'm going to get it, the interest formula is principal times rate times time. However, in this case, the time is 1 year, annual interest, meaning 1 year. So the interest is principal times rate in this case. So I'm going to multiply to get the interest for this last column. All right, so let's go ahead and fill in the principal and the rates for both of these. All right, the principal is the amount in the account, like I said. All right, so in account 1, we've got a 17% rate, and I don't know the principal. It says she invests some money at 17%. And so let's just denote the principal, the amount, as X, and the rate is 17%. Of course, that is going to need to be put in decimals, so move it 2 places, the decimal 2 places back, 0.17. Let's go to account 2 here. The amount in account 2, the principal, well, here's what it says. The amount is 500 more than twice the amount at 17% for the 20% account. Well, let's think about that. 500 more than twice the amount. Well, twice the amount is X at the first account, so twice the amount, that would be 2X, right? And then I want 500 more than that, that would be plus 500, wouldn't it? And so the principal of account 2 is 2X plus 500. Rate-wise, well, we got 20%. That's 0.20 for the rate of the second account. So the interest, then, the interest column, like I said, is I do the principal times the rate. So each one I multiply the principal times the rate, X times 0.17. Let's write that, though, 0.17X. Then the principal of account 2 times the rate, well, let's write that this way. Let's do a 0.20 times the principal, 2X plus 500. Just multiplying, in each case, principal times rate. All right? Okay, well, let's try to get an equation off of this then. Here's how that's going to work. The other information that we know is the total. So let's maybe do a little total right here underneath. Because here's what I know. For total interest, I know that the $15.25 is the total interest. How do I use that? Well, total interest means the total from account 1 interest plus account 2 interest. So I'm going to wind up adding the 2 interests here together, the expressions for the interest, and that's going to total $15.25. So let's write that here. The equation is going to be 0.17x plus the 0.20 times 2x plus 500. and that equals 1525. Interest plus interest equals total interest. Makes sense. Okay? That's our equation. Solve that equation, and we're on our way here to the solution. All right, well, we've got to distribute. 0.17x comes down. We've got to distribute, though, this 0.20. 0.20 times 2x, that's 0.40x. Plus 0.20 times 500, and that's going to be 100. Multiply that out. And that equals 1525. Got some like terms on the left. 0.17 plus 0.40, that's 0.57x plus 100 equals 1525. Subtract the 100 from both sides. A little room there. 0.57x then would equal 1425. Divide off the 0.57 and we'll have our x. 1425 divided by 0.57. 2500. X is 2500. Now, this is a good example of one where you better be sure you answer the question. Original question was how much was at each rate? Well, the x amount that we found, the 2500, is the principal for the 17%. So that 2500 we have down here, that's 2500 at 75%. 2500 at 17%. The other amount, the other principal, is 2x plus 500. So now I know x is 2500, so 2 times 2500 plus 2 times 2500 is 5000 plus 500 would give us 5500, and that's the amount at 20%. Count 2. So our two amounts are 25 and 5500. All right? A couple more of these, I think, what I've got planned. Number 4 here. Robin invests some money at 4% and 4 times as much at 5.2%. The total annual interest is $13.64. Basically, same sort of problem. So let's draw our table here, our pry table. All right, two accounts. Account 1 and 2. So we're going to do principal, rate, and then interest on the end. Fill those in. So account 1 is at 4%. How much do I have? I don't know, so I call it X. The rate is 4%. Now be careful there. That's not just 4. You got to move the decimal right 2 places back. So it'd be 0.04 is the rate on account 1. Account 2, well, we've got 4 times as much in account 2. So if account 1 has X, then account 2 has 4 times that, so that'd be 4X, wouldn't it? And its rate is 5.2%, but if you move that decimal point 2 places back, you're going to get a 0.052 for its representation rate for account 2. All right, now how do we get the interest? Well, the interest, remember, we take the principal in each times the rate. So we multiply in account 1 X times 0.04. Hey, let's write that 0.04x. Account 2, multiply the principal times the rate. Well, let's say it's 0.052 times 4x. So there's our table. Now, what we do with that is, again, we know the total interest is $13.64. So the total interest would be adding these two interests. So if I add those two interests, the expressions there, add those two together, that's going to equal my total interest, $13.64. There's our equation. Solve that out, and we'll find our value of our x. Okay, well, that would mean multiply these two together, 0.052 times 4, 0.208. X equals 1364. All I have to do on this left side, add the like terms, so 0.04 plus 0.208, and that's going to be 0.248x equals 1364. Then find x, all I have to do is divide by 0.248. X equals 1364 divided by 0.248. 5,500. Now, that's just account 1. We also need account 2. And so account 2, its amount is 4x. So I'll do 4 times x. Well, the x is 5,500, so I do 4 times 5,500. 22,000. So that'd be 5,500 at the 4% amount, and then $22,000 at 5.2%. Okay? All right. Got one more example here. It has a little bit of a different angle on it. Garrett, it says, has $1,000 to invest in 2 accounts. One account earns 4% and the other 6%. The annual interest earns $49.50. How much is invested in each account? All right, well, here's the thing on that. Draw my little table here. I've got 2 accounts again. Account 1, account 2. So what do I have for principal, rate, and interest? Pry table. Well, as we've started out before, principal is unknown for account 1. Let's call it x. And its rate is 4%. That's 0.04. The other one is 6%, so the rate is 6%. That's 0.06, 2 places back. Now, how much do I have in account 2? I don't know, but I do know $1,000 is in both accounts. So, what that means is the 2 principals have to amount to 1,000. Well, let's say I had 400 in account 1. I've got then 600 in account 2, or 1,000 minus the 400. If it's $100 in account 1, I have 1,000 minus 100, 900 here. So whatever this amount is in account 1, account 2 is 1,000 minus that amount. So let's write that. We could write that expression as 1,000 minus x. That's account 2's principal. So once I've got all those in place, then I can say, well, the interest, principal times rate, isn't it? We're talking annual interest, so it's just principal times rate. Multiply the principal times the rate in each case there, so I've got 0.04 times x. Best way to write that. And then 0.06 times 1,000 minus x. Taking its amount times its principal times its rate. Way to write that. All right, well, we've again got the total annual interest, so I add these two interests together. 0.04x plus then 0.06 times 1,000 minus x. And that's going to equal the total annual interest. We've got $49.50. We can solve that out. We're in pretty good shape. All right, well, that's going to mean on the left, got to distribute the 0.06. This 0.04x stays the same. 0.06 times 1,000, well, that's going to give you 60. Multiply those two out. Oops. Those marks there. All right, so that'd be 60. 0.06 times negative x, that's negative 0.06x, and that equals then the 4950. All right, well, what do? We got 0.04x minus we got like terms there, so subtract those. You get a negative 0.02x. Bring down the plus 60 and the equals 4950. Now I need to get the constant to the other side there, so I subtract my 60. Left side just will be then negative 0.02x. 60s go out. 4950 minus 60. What does that give you? Type it up. You got negative 10.5. Now all I have to do is divide off the negative 0.02. And I'll wind up with x equaling negative 10.5 divided by 0.02, 525. $525, and that would be in account 1, right? X is account 1's amount. Needed at each rate, so that's the 4% amount. What's the 6%? Well, the 6% amount is, notice, 1,000 minus X. So I'll put 1,000 minus X. Now I know X is 525, so 1,000 minus 525. 475. So the 525, that's at the 4%. 475, that's 6%. That's what we have in this problem here. All right. That concludes our lecture 2.3.